This video is sponsored by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, build your online presence with Squarespace.
Hey everyone, Ace of Clay here, and welcome to another sculpting video. If you are new here, I am a self-taught sculptor, and in today's video, we're making the boogeyman. The creature under the stairs, creature under the bed, whatever you want to call it. In my book, it's the boogeyman. Quick shout out to Heather Ween, CartoonFan18, and Keeping Me Sane on Twitter for suggesting him for this week's sculpt. And don't forget, I'll be announcing the winner of the ultimate Ace of Clay sculpting set at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. Now the question is, what does the boogeyman look like? Well, to me, I thought it would be cool if it looked like he was imagined by a little kid with like random features that don't really make sense but still work together to create one cohesive creature. So if you want to see if I can pull that off, then let's get started. Oh, and if you like my stuff and you want to subscribe, that'd be cool too. Alright, here we go. First step, armature. I'm going to start shaping out the boogeyman's body from some aluminum foil. And as always, all of the materials and tools that I use in this video are listed in the description box below, along with my affiliate links if you want to purchase anything. Alright, after shaping out the torso and tail from one piece of aluminum foil and securing it with masking tape, we're going to cover the entire thing in Super Sculpey, if I can get it out of the box. Sculpey, I liked your old boxes better. Then after running the clay through my pasta maker on the thickest setting, I'm just going to add these nice, even sheets all over the surface of the monster. And smooth everything out to get it ready for details. Once everything's covered, I'm just going to poke some holes for the wire that'll be used for the arms and the legs. We're going to start with the legs. I'm just shaping out the foot from the wire. This is 12 gauge aluminum wire, and I'm just feeding it through and then twisting it around like so to create each of the legs. Once the armature for the legs is complete, we're just going to cover those in clay. And then if you can't already tell, I want this guy to be sort of lizardy. You can see that from the tail and all that and the shape of his body. But I also want him to look random and sort of pieced together, like I said in the intro, like a little kid thought him up. So that's what I'm trying to go for. So half lizard, half like Yeti monster, half dragon. You'll see. Then once the legs are at a good point, it's time to add some clay for the feet. Then after completing the other foot off camera, we're just smoothing everything out, being careful not to drag the clay around, we just want to sort of push it in. And that's looking pretty good. Now it's time to add some wire for the arms, get those positioned. And then I want to fill him out a little bit more around his middle area, so we're just adding some more clay. Boogeyman's got a dad bod. Then we're just going to add a little more clay to even everything out. Then we're just going to add a skewer for the neck right in the middle of his shoulders. Make sure I can get it into a good spot so that it's not too hunched. Not bad. Now it's time to add the toes. I'm just shaping out these little balls of clay, adding them to the foot like so, and blending one edge in with the rest of his foot. Then I want to add some fur on his legs, so I'm just adding these flattened upside down teardrop shapes like so, sort of overlapping them as I work my way up the leg. And then we are going to texture these later to look more like fur. Super easy and super effective. Then once the last pieces of fur are on, I'm just going to use a couple different tools to give them a nice fur texture. Then we're just going to finish up the other leg off camera. And that's looking pretty good. Now it's time to add some plates or scutes down the front of his chest like a dragon or snake. And then here I'm just attaching them. I cut out these little rectangles that get bigger, and I'm just overlapping them one at a time to finish off his chest. And then throughout this entire process, especially at this point, I really wanted to make sure he didn't look like a dinosaur, because he kind of started to at a certain point, but then once I added the fur, that kind of helped. But he definitely doesn't look like a dinosaur when he's done. Then once all the chest plates are on, we are just going to go in with our pearlizing tool. This came in a 3-pack. It has a large pearl size, medium, and small, and I am just poking the large one and the small one all over the surface of his back to create the scales. It's super easy and super effective. Not bad. Let's keep going. Now I'm just going to detail the feet a little bit, add some joints to the toes. Then once both feet are looking pretty good, we're just going to go in with our small pearlizing tool to add some scales that sort of fade away into the rest of the foot. I'm just going to use my Explorer tool here to detail them a little bit more, and then I'm going to use my medium ball stylus to press in the areas where we will be adding some claws. And then for the claws, I will be using some Primo Sculpey. This is just a stronger clay once it's cured, and because the claws are pointy, they can be kind of fragile, so I just want to use a stronger clay for them. Then to finish off the Boogeyman scales, I'm just going to add some translucent liquid Sculpey and clay softener and brush them onto the surface to fill in all of the gaps between each of the scales. This makes it look more like a bumpy surface, not like I just poked in a bunch of circles everywhere. And the reason I added the clay softener to the translucent liquid clay is because it thins it out a little bit and makes it easier to spread. And then don't overdo it. I do go a little heavy-handed in certain areas, and I totally lost all the texture in some spots. But it's okay. Moving on. Now we're just going to brush the surface of everything else with some clay softener to get him ready for his first bake. That's looking pretty good. Now that he's baked and completely cooled down, let's look at how I screwed up on the translucent liquid clay. I added a little too much in some areas, but it's fine. I'm not worried about it. Alright, now we're going to start the hands. This is a different method for making hands that I've never done before, and I'm really glad that it worked out so well. I want him to have really long, skinny fingers, so what I did was shape out the palm and back of the hand from a piece of clay, and I'm poking in wire for each of the fingers. And they're ready to bake, but before I baked them, I did poke them onto the wire for the arms, just so that's how I'm going to stick them on when they're baked. Here we go. Not bad, not bad. Now it's time to add the clay to the fingers. I actually enjoyed making the hands for this guy, and that never happens because I don't like making hands. You guys know this. Then once the fingers are shaped out, we're just going to add some little tiny details. And that's looking pretty good. Oh, wait, let's fix something really quick and then start the second hand off camera. Then once they're both done, I'm just going to put them very far away so don't smash all the work that I just did. And now we're going to add some clay to the arms. Then I'm going to add a little bit of fur to the arms, but I'm not going to go as crazy as I did with the legs, so I'm just going to add another little piece of clay and then make it so the fur is sort of just hanging off the back of his arm, and then just detailing that with this tool, like so. Then after completing the other arm off camera, I really like how this thing's turning out. Now we're just going to attach the hands gently and then add more clay to the wrists, like that. And he's almost done. I was really, really happy with how it was turning out. Now it's time to bake that again and then start the head. I had a lot of fun making the head. I really wanted to get out of my norm and push the stylization of this guy as far as possible and really make him look like he was imagined by a little kid, but still look good and go along with the same style as the rest of the monsters in my monster universe, if that makes sense. So this was a lot of fun. We're just giving him a nice football shaped head. Hello, hey Arnold. We're just going to use our pin tool to shape out the mouth, add a little more clay at the ends here, like that. And now I'm going to take my large ball stylus to press in the eye sockets, and then add the eyeballs. Then once the eyes are in, it's time to give him some eyelids. These are just snakes of clay that taper at each end that I am attaching and shaping out with my spoon tool. And then to form the teeth, I am just using my wedge firm detail tool to shape them out and sort of rock it back and forth in between the indents just to sort of round the front of each tooth. And this is, again, super easy and super effective. Now we're just going to add a nice long snake of clay for the bottom lip, and then blend the bottom edge of that in with the bottom of his head, like that. Not bad. Time for the top lip, doing this the same way as the bottom one. Then once the lips are done, it's time to give him a nose. I'm giving him a nice big monster nose. Then to add some more detail to the center of his face, I'm just going to add some ridges going up from the nose, like that, and then blending them in with my spoon tool. I'm just going to use a small ball stylus to press in the nostrils. Now we're going to add some final details to the face with my Explorer tool, adding some lines on the eyelids, like that, and then just really clean everything up. Now we're going to add more of that scale texture to the back of his head. We're getting there. Now for the next step, I'm just going to use my large ball stylus to create indents for his horns. And I'm going to make these horns out of Primo as well, again, for the same reason as the toenails. It's a stronger clay. Now we're just going to finish off the horns with a little piece of skin where the horn meets his head. Then once the horns are looking pretty good, it's time to attach the head. And then add some clay for the neck. I did not wash my hands after using black clay. I just went straight back to Super Sculpty Original. So that's why the neck clay looks a little gross. Then for a final detail, we're gonna give this guy a little goatee. I thought this added so much character, and I absolutely love it. Like, look at it. Then for the last detail, we're just gonna give him some nice pointy little ears. And then I'm going to add some translucent liquid clay to the scales on his head and neck too, just to finish him off. And he's ready for his final bake. Then once he's baked and completely cooled down, it's time for paint. We're gonna start with the plates on his chest. We're gonna make these purple. And then all of the paints that I use in this video are Folk Art brand matte acrylics. Then after the first coat of purple is dry, I wanted to gray it out a little bit more, so we're just going over that with a second coat right here. And then we are going to go in with some darker purple that I tinted with some pure black to shade all the areas under the plates. And we're going to take some lighter purple to highlight them. And that's looking pretty good. Now we're going to paint his eyes. I'm going to use some hot saffron as a base color. This is a nice vibrant orange, very hot color. Then I'm going over that with some yellow bright to create this nice radial gradient. Now we're just painting the teeth. I made this color with some yellow bright and warm white, but I don't like it. I'm just going to paint the whole thing dark first, and then dry brush some yellow bright mixed with warm white over that, and then follow that with some just straight up warm white. That looks pretty good. Now we're just gonna fix up some areas here, and then start painting the rest of his body this nice dark gray color. Now we're going to take a quick break and add the pupils to his eyes, like that, using a very fine paintbrush and an extremely steady hand. Don't want to screw these up and have to redo all the orange again. Glad I did it right on the first time. Now we're going to go in with some of that dark gray again with a fine paintbrush to get all the areas that are right up against another color. Now let's finish off that gray. Painting the top of his head really brought him to life for me. I was so happy with how it was turning out. He's just this shadowy creature that hangs out under your bed, in your closet, in your attic, under the stairs, all that, because he's the boogeyman. All right, now we're just gonna go in with some watered down black to add some shading beneath all of the layers of fur and then some other areas on him. Now dry brushing some pure black down the front of his face and his back just to create this nice black gradient. Then for a final step on the gray, we're just going to dry brush a little lighter gray onto the surface just to highlight some areas on him. And then we're going to finish off the horns with some black and white stripes. The black's already there, so I'm only painting the white parts, of course, and I love how the horns turned out. I think they really brought him together. Then using a little ball stylus, I'm adding some reflections to his eyes, glazing his teeth with some high gloss varnish, and then using some satin varnish to paint some of the scales on his back just to add another level of dimension and detail. And then we're going to glaze his eyes with some glossy varnish as well. And he's done! The boogeyman is complete. Let me know what you think in the comments, and then stick around now to hear the winner of my 200K giveaway. And that's a wrap. I really hope you like my version of the Boogeyman. He is definitely one of my top favorite sculptures, if not my new favorite. So let me know what you think of him in the comments. And now for the giveaway winner. Thank you so much to everybody that entered. I received over 6,000 entries. So without further ado, the winner of the Ultimate Ace of Clay Sculpting set is Francisco Baez. Congratulations. I'll be reaching out to you in the next couple days so that you can claim your prize. And honestly, if I could send this kit to every single one of you, I would, but that would cost over $1 million. And you know, can't do that. So anyway, congratulations again, Francisco, and stay tuned for the next giveaway that'll be at 300K. And then before we close out, I just want to talk a little bit about our sponsor, Squarespace. Whether you're just getting started or you're an established brand, the Squarespace commerce platform supports the way you do business. Whether you want to sell products directly or even bill for your services, they've got you covered. For me personally, I love Squarespace for their portfolios. I'm just starting to expand my website with more of my work, and I love how customizable the galleries are. And I also want to mention their amazing email support team that is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're an actual team in an office that'll typically respond to your questions within an hour. So with all that said, get on over to squarespace.com to start your free trial, and then when you're ready to launch your website, go to squarespace.com/aceofclay to get 10% off your first purchase. And as always, thank you so much for watching and being here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and then follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Ace of Clay for more content, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Ah, 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 ah.